Welcome to my YouTube history channel, Utrace.
Alright, welcome to this explainer. To kick things off, I want you to picture something for me. Just imagine you're standing right in the middle of a vast, endless desert thousands of years ago. You can literally feel the intense heat of the sun beating down on you and that bone-dry sand crunching right beneath your feet.
Now, in this ancient landscape, we are talking zero skyscrapers, no engines, no electricity, and absolutely no modern machines of any kind. And yet somehow, towering right in front of you is this colossal monument made of millions of solid stones, just rising impossibly high into the sky. We are, of course, talking about ancient Egypt, a civilization that popped up along the Nile River and casually left behind some of the most mind-blowing structures in all of human history.
So, here is the million-dollar question we're going to dive into today. How exactly did a bunch of ordinary farmers transform into master builders? Like, how does a civilization that doesn't even have heavy machinery manage to create pyramids that are still standing thousands of years later? Well, let's piece together this incredible story.
Section 1. The Gift of the Nile, from Green Sahara to River Settlement.
Okay, so way before the pyramids were even a thought, parts of North Africa were actually lush and green. Early communities were even building these really complex astronomical stone circles at places like Nabta Playa. But over time, the African monsoons started to weaken and the rainfall just dried up. Those roaming hunter-gatherer groups were basically forced to adapt as the desert expanded. So what did they do? They chased the last remaining reliable water source straight to the Nile River, and they finally traded in their nomadic lifestyle to settle down permanently along its banks.
The whole secret to their success was the Nile's incredibly predictable rhythm. Every single year, literally like clockwork, the river flooded, and when it did, it deposited this perfectly fertile soil all across the valley. Once the waters pulled back, the people planted wheat and barley, and they raised cattle, sheep, and goats. Because this system was so reliable, they started generating massive food surpluses. Suddenly, people didn't have to spend every waking second worrying about their next meal. The population boomed, and with all that extra food, people could actually specialize. Sure, a lot of them stayed farmers, but others became craftsmen, soldiers, priests, and, crucially for us, builders.
Section 2. Uniting a powerful kingdom, pharaohs, gods, and administration. Now, as populations grew and people started specializing, political power naturally began to consolidate. Eventually, King Narmer stepped up and united Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north into one massive, highly organized state. But you know what actually kept this whole society together? It was a concept called Mot. See, the pharaoh wasn't just some politician sitting on a throne. They were literally seen as a god on earth. It was their personal responsibility to maintain cosmic order between humans, the gods, and the natural world. And this deep, unwavering belief system is what kept Egyptian society incredibly stable for thousands of years.
But here's the thing. Running a huge society based on cosmic order requires some serious administration and a whole lot of trade. They started exporting their extra crops, linen, and papyrus, and in return, they imported luxury goods like cedar wood, copper, and gold. To keep track of this massive network of riverboats and desert caravans, they invented hieroglyphs. By carving pictures and symbols into stone or writing them on papyrus, they could suddenly track taxes, manage workforces, and record inventory. That superpower of administration, that is exactly what generated the astronomical wealth they needed to fund the mega projects that were coming next.
Section 3. The Pyramid Experiments. Architecture through Trial and Error.
You might not know this, but early Egyptian rulers weren't buried in pyramids at all. They were actually buried under these flat, rectangular mud brick tombs called mastabas. But during Pharaoh Djauser's reign, his brilliant architect Imhotep had an idea. He took those flat mastabas and stacked several of them on top of each other, creating the step pyramid at Saqqara. It was an absolute game changer. Later on, Pharaoh Snefru's architects tried to take it even further with the bent pyramid, and you can literally see where they messed up and had to adjust the angle halfway up so it wouldn't collapse. Total trial and error. But they learned from their mistakes, and Snefru's engineers finally nailed it with the red pyramid, one of the very first smooth-sided true pyramids. Basically, they were just warming up for the main event.
Section 4. Building the Great Pyramid, solving the engineering mystery. Alright, fast forward to the 26th century BCE. Pharaoh Khufu decides he wants a monument at Giza that is going to completely shatter all previous records. 146.6 meters. That was the original height of the Great Pyramid. You really have to take a second to process that scale. We're talking millions of individual stone blocks, some weighing several tons, with a few granite slabs inside that were even heavier. So, coming back to our big question from the start, without steel cranes, without engines, how on earth did they move them?
Well, this is where human ingenuity really just steals the show. First, workers quarried the stone using nothing but simple copper and wood tools. Then, they floated those massive blocks down the Nile on boats. Once on land, they placed the stones on wooden sledges, and to actually pull them across the desert, they used a brilliant little physics trick. They just poured water on the sand right in front of the sledge. Modern experiments have shown that this one simple trick drastically reduces friction, which meant teams of workers could pull insane weights using just ropes. Their engine wasn't some piece of machinery. It was flawless organization, a massive supply chain, and unbelievable teamwork.
Section 5. The Afterlife and Hidden Tombs. Preparing for Eternity. Now, you might be thinking, why go through literally all of this trouble? Well, for the Egyptians, existence definitely did not end at death. For the pharaoh to keep doing their cosmic job in the afterlife, their physical body had to stay intact. Enter the highly sophisticated art of mummification. Embalmers would completely dry out the body using a naturally occurring salt mixture called natron to stop decomposition. After that, they treated it with oils and resins and carefully wrapped it in countless layers of linen. Interestingly enough, they left the heart inside. Why? Because to them, the heart was the literal center of a person's identity and moral compass. Finally, they placed the mummy into a series of coffins, packed the tomb with riches, and sealed it up.
But as awe-inspiring as the pyramids were, they had one huge glaring flaw. Giant 400-foot-tall stone monuments are basically giant neon billboards for grave robbers. Over the centuries, so many royal tombs were completely cleared out by looters. So eventually, later rulers totally pivoted. Their new motto was basically, hide the tomb, hide the treasure, protect the pharaoh. They ditched the pyramids completely and started carving these super-secret underground tombs deep into the rock in a very well-guarded place known as the Valley of the Kings.
And you know what? That hidden tomb strategy actually worked out pretty flawlessly for one particular pharaoh, a guy who died when he was just about 19 years old. In this crazy twist of historical irony, because Pharaoh Tutankhamun's tomb was relatively small and buried deep under the rubble of other tombs, grave robbers missed it entirely for over 3,000 years. It wasn't until 1922 that British archaeologist Howard Carter finally cleared the entrance, revealing an absolutely breathtaking, untouched hoard of gold, chariots, and statues that literally shocked the modern world.
Section 6. An Enduring Human Legacy. Uncovering the Secrets of the Sands. What's crazy is that even today, this civilization is still surprising us. Right now, researchers are using cutting-edge tech like ground-penetrating robotics and cosmic ray muon scanning, which sounds like sci-fi, I know, to find completely unknown hidden corridors inside the Great Pyramid without moving a single stone. But honestly, Egypt's greatest legacy isn't just one cool pyramid or a single famous pharaoh. It's thousands of years of incredible intellectual achievement. Way before the Persians, Greeks, or Romans ever showed up, the Egyptians were already mastering complex mathematics, advanced medicine, astronomy, and massive irrigation networks, all held together by a highly structured government.
Actually, there's this really powerful thought from our source material that sums this up perfectly. It says, human technology does not always begin with machines. Sometimes it begins with observation. A simple question, beside a river. Think about it. The Nile gave them water. The soil gave them food, writing gave them an eternal memory, and the religion gave them a vision of eternity. They took the most basic natural resources available to them and, through pure human ingenuity, transformed them into a civilization that will never be forgotten.
Today, sure, the ancient language is no longer spoken, and a lot of the great temples are just ruins. But the pyramids? They're still there, standing tall against the desert sky. When we look at them today, we are not just looking at a pile of old stones. We are looking at the absolute, boundless determination of human cooperation. And honestly, perhaps the greatest mystery of all isn't just how these structures survive the sands of time, it's how human beings, armed with literally nothing but simple tools, mathematics, and organization, were able to build them in the first place.
Your support means a lot. See you in the next video.